Hello, and thank you for joining us with this episode of the GrowVC Everyone Funding Startups podcast. And today we're looking at a recent white paper on impact investing that's been published by the European Trade Association for Business Angels, and that is the EBAN. So today we're joined by the president of EBAN, Brigitte Baumann. So first of all, thank you, Brigitte, for being on the podcast today.
Delighted to be here.
Why don't we start off with a little bit of an introduction on yourself? So could you tell our listeners a little bit about your background and what it is currently that you do?
Yes, I am president of EBAN, as you mentioned. So we're the European Trade Association for Business Angels, Business Angel Networks, and seed funds. And so we represent this sector, and we do research, we do lobbying, we do education, and we do some experience sharing. I'm also a very active business angel. I've actually been full-time being a business angel, being in this space since 2003. And I run a cross-border angel service organization, which is called Go Beyond. So that is, we are in 6 countries, 5 in Europe and in the US. And we have local investor groups. And then we also work with families, corporations, and high net worth families who want to invest into the space. And what is a little differentiating about ourselves is not only do we work with investors to help them introduce them to deals, but we then really help them manage and exit their early stage investing portfolio. So that's what I do. Before that, I was an entrepreneur like many business angels. I've been building businesses both in the US and in Europe. One of them was, for example, Expedia, where I was managing all of the online travel businesses for American Express. And we did a partnership with Microsoft, which then became, what spun out, became Expedia. I've been in the SIM card, chip card technology, in the mobile content technology. So I bring an entrepreneurial background to the early stage investing that I do.
And the relevant topic for today is the recent white paper by EBAN. And EBAN conducts research and does publications on relevant topics. What's the focus and aim of these publications?
So any of these publications, first of all, we pick a topic where we feel that there's that is strategically important to the sector, and also that there is a lot happening in that sector, or there's some challenges, and we both want to bring awareness, but also help our members and individuals in the ecosystem to find solutions. So usually we have 5 sections in each of these publications. First of all, what is the topic? What is currently happening? The opportunities and the challenges. Why are there, what are the root causes of some of the challenges and opportunities? And what could be some of the avenues going forward in as many elements of the parts of the ecosystem, because we believe that early stage investing sector is one where there's a lot of interdependent parties. So anytime we want to attack an important topic, we need to do it in a concerted, coordinated way. So the ones that we've done, for example, we've done one on the general evolution of early stage investing and how it's becoming an asset class. We've done one recently on women and bringing more diversity in early stage and investor community, because we feel if there's more diversity in the investor community, that will bring more diversity in the types of deals that get funded. And we feel that's critical, because when you look at entrepreneurs, there's a wide array of types of businesses and types of entrepreneurs. So we then decided to do this one a few months ago on impact investing.
All right. Could you also introduce that white paper for our audience?
Yeah. So the first question, like in any of these publications, is what is it? So impact investing is really when early stage investors who want to make direct investments in companies, both from an equity to get equity, so financial point of view, but also to mentor the entrepreneurs, decide that when they will look at the company, they will look not just at the potential financial impact, so profit that the company will generate, but also at the social and environmental impact. So in a nutshell, it's looking at companies who are building their business, looking at their whole stakeholders perspective, not just the shareholder perspective. And that can either be businesses who what they do will bring a social and or environmental impact, so the kind of products they're doing, or as importantly for many of us who are early stage impact investors, it is how they're building their business. So the governance, do they look at the suppliers? Where are the products coming from? Are they trying to create a whole value chain with the concept of fair trade? How do they hire their employees? Do they try to get a diverse community of employees? Do they, live the values of, in a way, future business, which takes into account a much broader concept of the ecosystem of the company rather than just its immediate little environment. So that's what is impact investing.
In terms of the findings and kind of trends that were uncovered in the white paper, could you summarize those?
Yes. So if we take each of the kind of questions, I've just described first, what is it? Then we described a little bit the landscape right now, and we find there's still very little data. So we estimate that maybe 5 to 10% of current deals made would fall into the definitions that I've given. What we do find from the research is that there's real interest. More and more investors want both do well and do good at the same time. And so we estimate that probably in the next couple of years, it could be at least in the 10 to 15% range. Ultimately, we estimate and we certainly hope that all businesses, when they think about conducting their business, will take into the kind of impact or sustainable value. So regardless of what product they will make, they will take a much broader stakeholder perspective than pure shareholders. The next section was a little bit, well, who are these kinds of investors? And we find that what's great too is it is bringing often a new type of investor, so that can grow the investor community, often younger individuals, often more women on average than men. And then we looked at what is different between this kind of investing and traditional. The process, by and large, is the same. What there is, though, is in each step of the way, there's some things that are a bit specific to early stage impact investing. So, for example, when you're sourcing deals, you will possibly work not just with traditional universities, incubators, but also some foundations. So, for example, Ashoka is a fantastic organization for social entrepreneurs, and many of their entrepreneurs now are either developing self-sustainable models, so more with a for-profit concept rather than not-for-profit, or are building an arm of their company in for-profit. So the places of where we're sourcing deals can be different. The second thing, when we do the due diligence, while we will still very much look, because I say we, because I am an early stage impact investor, we look at the financial aspects of the company, but we also very much look at this social and environmental impact. So that is slightly different. When we negotiate, oftentimes shareholders, we try as investors ourselves to make sure that we're not putting in what we might call abusive terms, so that we're also living the values ourselves as investors. And so maybe some of the shareholder agreements might be much more win-win than traditional ones, and etc. So that's the next thing that we look at in the white paper. And then we say, okay, well, we're at 5%. We think ultimately it should be 100% of companies. What are the challenges? What are the roadblocks? And what do different parties in the ecosystem can do to make this a much bigger sector, because we do believe that there's more and more entrepreneurs in this